girl, you don't get it twice. The time of your life.
A very good afternoon, welcome to Premier League Live, and what is a massive day in the Premier League. 6 games in the Premier League this Sunday afternoon, and we start at Old Trafford in Man United's final home game of the season, taking on a Nottingham Forest side who secured safety in the Premier League last week. So both of these sides very little to play for, but still playing for pride in the penultimate weekend of the season. Already one game down from matchday 37. Aston Villa's 4-2 win over Liverpool on Friday night means Aston Villa have taken grasp of 4th place going into the final weekend of the season, and a massive win ahead of their Europa League final in a few days' time. For Liverpool, it's another body blow and another defeat this season for Arne Slot's team. Certainly not the end of the season that they would have wanted by any stretch. In today's action, as I said, United take on Forest here at Old Trafford. It's 4 3 o'clock kickoffs. Crystal Palace head to Brentford, Everton host Sunderland, Brighton head to Leeds, and Wolves welcome Fulham. And then it is all about the relegation battle at 5:30. West Ham United, can they plunge Spurs back into the bottom 3 with a win away at Newcastle at 5:30 before Spurs play on Tuesday away at Chelsea, who have just appointed Xabi Alonso as their new manager, but he won't take charge until the summer. Speaking of appointments, and really an extension for Michael Carrick, who is reportedly agreed a 2-year deal to stay at Manchester United with an option of a 3rd year to extend to 2029. He's, of course, secured a Champions League spot with Man United with 2 games to spare in the season. So today they're playing to secure 3rd place in the league. He's won 10 of his 15 games in charge of the club, a 66.67% win rate. But no official announcement has been made yet from the club, but we expect something after this game against Nottingham Forest. When it comes to the top and the bottom, at the bottom, look at that for a relegation battle. Just 2 points between 17th and 18th. And in the title race as well, there's just 2 points at the top between the top 2. Lots to get your teeth into in the next week or so, in the final week of the Premier League season. And we are just 2 games to go for each team. Let's have a look at the teams for this game, though, starting with Manchester United, who've gone strong for this one. Sene Lammens starts in goal, a back 4 of Diogo Dalot, Harry Maguire, Lisandro Martinez and Luke Shaw. Casemiro starts for what will be his final appearance at Old Trafford as a Man United player, and Kobbie Mainoo alongside him in midfield. Captain Bruno Fernandes is in the 10. Amad and Cunha are the wingers, with Brian Mbeumo leading the Man United front line. On the bench, Bayendier, Heaven, Malacia, Mazraoui, Yoro, Dorgu, Ugarte, Mount and Zirkzee. Strength in depth. Well, for Nottingham Forest, it was, albeit a disappointing and positive week last week, a mixed bag. They secured Premier League football for next season, but were knocked out of the Europa League semi-finals with a chance to go to a European final. But Matt Sells starts in goal for Forest today. Nico Williams, Milenkovic, Morato and Nets are the back 4. We believe they go to a 4-4-2 today, Forest, with Elliot Anderson and Nicolas Dominguez as the central 2, with Gibbs White and Hutchinson on the wings, and a front 2 of Igor Jesus and Chris Wood up front. Now for Nottingham Forest, their bench looks like this: Victor, Ortega, Jair, Abbott, Singari, Yates, McAtee, Bakwa and Awonyi. So both sides know where they will be next season. Man United are Champions League bound and Forest are staying in the Premier League for yet another season. But it is still wanting a happy and positive end to the campaign with a win. And Old Trafford certainly a cauldron this afternoon of noise. Casemiro's final home game as a United player, that will be an emotional one, and an end to what has been a strange season at Man United with two different managers, but a bit of settled success over the last few months. Well, let's see how they do in their final home game of the season. It's United against Forest. Kick-off is next. Very good afternoon. Welcome to Premier League Live for this Sunday afternoon and what is a jam-packed day of Premier League action. 6 games from lunchtime to early evening. It is usually a Saturday schedule that we have on a Sunday. But that is with, of course, the FA Cup final yesterday. That has given us a bit of a disrupted weekend, but it makes it even more entertaining this Sunday afternoon. As I said, really two sides who really have achieved their goals that they've had into the end of this season. United securing Champions League and Forest securing safety. That's the utmost of objectives for those two clubs, but at the end of the day, there's still 2 games to play and 2 games to win for these two clubs to end the season on a true high. It will be Forest to get us underway then for this one as we get off and running in the final game of the season at Old Trafford in the Premier League. Manchester United side have fared a lot better at home this season than they did last time around. They've won 12 of their 18 home games this season. Only 3 home defeats is a record certainly to be proud of. Only Arsenal and Manchester City have picked up more points at home than Man United this season. For Forest, they're not bad away from home. Certainly much better than a relegation-threatened team when it comes to their away form. But now find themselves safe and comfortable for another season with 43 points. And with a win today, there is a possibility that Forest could find themselves as high as 13th at the end of this game if they win before Newcastle play later on, which would be a real example of how tight the bottom of the table has been over the last few weeks. But there's only 2 that can go down now, and we'll talk more about that later on. But as we talk, it has been a unique season at Manchester United. You know, usually we've talked about the disappointments, the lack of positive results and performances for United in previous seasons, and it was continuing that way at the start of the campaign with Ruben Amorim. But since his departure and Michael Carrick was drafted in, there's been a real turnaround in fortunes for United at home and away in the league. Something to build on, with the feeling that Michael Carrick's been handed a 2-year deal as the permanent head coach. Forest with the throw in here, Nico Williams to take on the right hand side. Forest have a good record against Manchester United, home and away. That throw in didn't quite work out as Mainu intercepts it. And poked out to the far right hand side, taken in by Diogo Dalot. As I was saying, Forest are unbeaten in their last 4 league meetings against Man United, having won 3 of those games and done the league double over United last season, winning here and at the City Ground. Well, they drew the reverse fixture between the sides earlier in the season at the City Ground in a 2-2 draw. Man United, who led that game, were behind 2-1. Ahmad scored the late equaliser to rescue a point for United in that game. I actually remember the one where Anthony Alanga scored against Man United at the City Ground late last season in that 1-0 victory for Forest. Do you remember that well? The storyline, of course, the former Man United player scoring against United. Of course, now Anthony Alanga is at Newcastle. Here's Lisandro Martinez to Harry Maguire. One thing that Man United have been And it's not something you can say about United over the last few years. The last few months they've been settled. They've had consistency within the squad of who started. They feel comfortable in the way they're playing. And certainly players are shining because of that. Here's Luke Shaw down the left-hand side. Back inside to Cunha, back out wide again to Shaw, who tried to return the favour to Matej Cunha, but two Forest players in the way to clear that one, and Wood trying to make himself a nuisance is seen away by Harry Maguire. Sandro Martinez lost a boot in his tackle with Chris Wood, but quickly resolved. Bruno Fernandes, 19 assists this season in the Premier League. According to the official records, he's just one away from equaling the all-time assist record in the Premier League in a single season. Ahmad, overlapping was Dalot. Dalot's cross, hooked away, not fully cleared by Forrest, nicely recovered. Fernandes to the back post. Lots of United players there as Shaw comes in, and Shaw! Wonderful finish from Luke Shaw. Took it down and on the half volley sunk it in the far corner. Beautiful from the Man United left back, who's had a great season by his standards. Certainly has had the consistency that he has struggled to find in previous seasons, but this season has been a positive. And he doesn't want to celebrate to the crowd, even though his teammates want them to. And Luke Shaw gives Manchester United an early lead here at Old Trafford. It comes from their first real attack and opportunity of the game, and Ahmad lays it out wide for Diogo Dalot, who clips it back into the box, and it's just kept alive by United. Forest just can't clear it away. It's not the best of crosses from Fernandes, but it's the clearance that just doesn't get dealt with, and Shaw takes it down really fantastically. See it here, just sneaks from the edge of the box, takes it down, takes the touch, sets himself up and struck it in the far corner. Class finish. And Luke Shaw gives Manchester United the lead. Lovely finish. Man United didn't take long to get off and running. Their first shot of the game, the first shot of the game. United lead by a goal to nil. Luke Shaw, I think, will be going quite a distance back to find out the last time he scored. Actually, he hasn't scored in any of the last two previous seasons in the Premier League. This is his first goal since the 22-23 season, where he scored just one goal in that season. And I'll have to scroll all the way back to that to find it. His first goal since January 2023, when he scored in a 3-0 win for Man United over Bournemouth here. Scored the second goal in that game. That was the last time Luke Shaw scored for United, over 3.5 years ago. And it's not many to add to his collection. He's actually only scored 4 previous goals at Manchester United, Luke Shaw, which is an incredible. You wouldn't think that, considering he joined almost 11 years ago. And only his 5th goal in his Man United career. That was a beautifully taken one. Here's Sene Lamens. There's been a lot of positives to talk about Man United, and I think Luke Shaw has been one of them. You know, he's been massively hampered by injury after injury for a number of seasons, and this has been the season where he's really just been settled in the team. He's not been upended by injuries. It's kind of just been being able to garner that consistency. It just feels like a bit of a party atmosphere at Old Trafford today. No real tension on whether they need Champions League or anything like that. They're just out there to enjoy a game of football. And you can't say that's happened too often at this stadium over the last number of seasons. It feels like they're in a much more positive place than they were just a few months ago. And that was stolen away though from Mbeumo. Got a little bit loose and Forest are in here. Good challenge though. Nico Williams, who was breaking forward there for Forest. Nice recovered in the end. Casemiro, who will call to an end his Man United career at the end of this season. This will be his final appearance at Old Trafford this afternoon. And what will be expectedly an emotional day. And he's had a really unique season in terms of goal scoring. He scored 9 Premier League goals this season, Casemiro. That's more goals in a single season than he has in his full career, which is an incredible stat. Only 2 assists, which is a record low, but certainly the goal scoring outweighs that massively. He has scored in 2 of his last 3 home appearances for Manchester United in the 2-1 defeat against Leeds and the 2-1 win over Brentford. He scored in that one. Played an excellent game in that one. And of course, will call to an end his 4 seasons at Manchester United at the end of this campaign. Certainly he's had a topsy-turvy few seasons at Man United himself, but it again seems like he's ending on a high. Well, maybe at the right time. Here's Elliot Anderson for Forest. Nico Williams. Back to Milenkovic. Morato. Plays it into Gibbs-White. To Igor Jesus now. Forest with a decent spell of possession. Hutchinson. Nicolas Dominguez fires it into the path of Morgan Gibbs-White. Forest slowly building up. Nico Williams. Well, they certainly entertained this Man United this season. There's no doubt about that. They've given us some cracker games to watch. Treated us to 112 goals across their matches this season so far, Man United, including the one we've seen already today. 64 scored, 48 conceded. It's been a real entertaining season when it comes to watching Man United at times. As Wood there tries to spin it wide to his centre forward partner in Igor Jesus, but that one bypasses the Forest forward. As we see this goal again from United, it's Dallow's cutback, but it's the fact that Forest just can't get it clear. There's a couple of occasions where they have the chance to clear their lines and they just don't do it well enough, and it just drops the shot at the edge of the box. He takes a really nice touch, sets himself up, and then struck it sweetly with the left foot. It had so much spin on it that it didn't move. It was as straight as an arrow, the shot in the end. As here come Forest. Hutchinson, his cutback was behind Igor Jesus, and United can find a way to recover. Morato stepping in there, but United quickly retrieve the ball and now want to spring away. It's Cunha. Shaw to his left. He takes that option of Shaw. Back to Matej Cunha, right on the edge of the box. Cuts it back to Fernandez. Square to Casemiro, told to shoot by the crowd. Not going to shoot from there. Fernandez, though, finds him Burmo. Casemiro wants to get into the box. Fernandez is going to go himself, and that one easily caught by the Forest goalkeeper. There was so much movement there from Man United, you really didn't know what Bruno Fernandes was going to do. I think in the end he decided to just do the simple thing and try and have a shot himself, and in the end it was a simple enough catch for the Forest goalkeeper Matt Sells. Loose giveaway there from Forest. Nicely held up by Fernandez. Shot there from Cunha. Charged down. Shaw quickly retrieves. Cunha. Casemiro. Mainu. Casemiro. He couldn't get the shot too far. Building. But Casemiro there with a loose back pass. Gives it away. And now Wood's away here for Forest. Very few with him. He does well to recycle it to Igor Jesus. Now Hutchinson. Mari Hutchinson drifting around and falling over. More than challenged, and Casemiro's there to pick up the pieces. Fernandez saunters one in behind, and Burmo to chase. Kept it in play well. Now to Ahmad. A few United players to support, but Fernandez finding Casemiro, who side foots it a little awkwardly. Fernandez there to recover once more, though. 15 minutes gone. It's been a positive start for Man United. An early goal from Luke Shaw. Despite some Forest possession, no real damage done to Man United's first quarter of an hour of control at Old Trafford. Harry Maguire to Diogo Dalot. Down the line for Ahmad, who run into trouble, but then the defender run into him, and Ahmad cuts it back. Put far too much on it. And I think it was Casemiro who was free as he would have wanted to be in the box, with Ahmad cutting it back, and he just put too much on it, Ahmad. He just fired it back into the area. It just didn't need that. Just needed to be cushioned back to the area, and Casemiro was free as you like. In the end, the attack breaks down, but certainly positive. We talked about Michael Carrick, how the tide has turned since he was appointed. Man United, had a unbelievable start. Won his first 4 games as the United boss, including wins against the top 2 in City and Arsenal in his first 2 games, winning his Manchester derby in his first game as interim charge. Won 6 of his first 7. His first defeat came away at Newcastle back in March, but has only lost twice since being Man United manager. Away to Newcastle, at home to Leeds. He's won 10 of those 15 games. A record that Man United hold this season. When scoring first, they've won 15 out of 22 games and are unbeaten. And they've scored the first goal this season. Flick on there by Wood, and Hutchinson was trying to make himself a bit of a problem. It's cleared away just to Wood. Jesus does find it through to Nico Williams, who's battling with Matej Cunha, and as he tried to win it back, the Welshman, it goes behind for a goal kick, but the crowd applauding Matej Cunha's tracking back, and he wins United out of that a goal kick. Well, we talked about Michael Carrick's positive appointment. Well, Vito Pereira's been relatively positive too since joining Forest, a team that were in the relegation zone. He's won 8 of his 18 games, just lost 5 times. 8 wins, 5 draws and 5 defeats. And has gone on this incredible run. Barring that Aston Villa result in the Europa League, Forest that's their only defeat since mid-March when they lost to Midtjylland, albeit that game was done and dusted by that point, but after they'd won the first leg. But the point still stands in the fact that they've went on a really strong run, Forest. Certainly in the league they have. Certainly recently. Unbeaten in their last 8 Premier League games. Won 4 and drawn 4. And on a 3-game winning run. Burnley, Sunderland and Chelsea. And then of course drew with Newcastle last time out. Certainly turned it around. And what has been a turbulent season at Forest too. He's their 4th permanent manager this season, Vitor Pereira. He was appointed back in February, so it shows how turbulent the first half of the season was, that he's probably the longest serving of the season of any of Forest's head coaches. Elliot Anderson, who will be very heavily fought for in the summer, I would suspect, from the, no offence to Forest, but the top clubs, probably including Man United, who could be involved in that. City have been linked. Liverpool are looking for a midfielder. Some big clubs sniffing around Elliot Anderson in the summer. We'll see how he does if he gets to the World Cup, which you would expect he will. That's a lovely turn by Hutchinson. Speeds it back and Gibbs White's in. Good save by Lamans. Really good save. The cutback by Hutchinson was beautiful into Gibbs White's path. But here come Man United on the breakaway. It's a 4v3. Cunha rolls it through to Mbermo. Rounds the goalkeeper. Hits the post though. Cunha flicked across by Fernandez. Cleared away. Casemiro. Wide. Well, Man United with a few candidates to try and find the second goal. And it was probably harder to miss for Brandon Mbermo than to score in that sort of situation. But it all started with a Forest chance. And I think Gibbs White might have just strayed offside. Harry Maguire was the last man, but maybe a slight bit offside. But Sonny Lamans didn't know that. He made a good save, and then Man United sprung on the break right away. 4v3. It was Cunha, rolled the ball through for Mbermo. He rounded the goalkeeper and done the hard bit. And then just couldn't find the net. Hit the post and rebounded out. Ahmad had a chance and Cunha had a chance, and then Casemiro had a chance. No one could take their chance. Dallo. Went wide to Ahmad. Quick in his footwork, but that's well cut out there again by Forest. It was Dominguez that time with the interception. Finding Gibbs White. A bit short-changed was Hutchinson there, and that's stole by Shaw. And Mbermo to Fernandez. Bruno Fernandez trying to work himself into a space where he can cross, but clogged up there by the Forest players, and Hutchinson gets a block in. And Williams gets the clearance to win Forest a throw, but maybe a little bit indecisive there, Bruno Fernandez. Just took the touch away from goal. As we see this, and Mbermo chance again. Sells had no chance when he was down. He was lying down, and Mbermo. I don't know whether he was targeting going near post, but the narrow angle just couldn't guide it across. Anderson under pressure here. Williams able to find the long clearance. Nice, swift, sharp football from United. That was a little bit overstretched though to Fernandez by Kobbie Mainoo. Now 23 minutes gone, Man United lead by a goal to nil. An early Luke Shaw goal, the difference. Forest have had a big chance. United have had one or two opportunities to find a second goal to this point. Nice through ball held up by Gibbs White. Finding Igor Jesus. Got options. He's going to try and swing it towards Wood, and that was well cut out by Lisandro Martinez, but really smart idea by Igor Jesus. You think he's going to just lay it wide to Hutchinson, but he decides to change the angle and try and find the target man of Chris Wood in the mix, and well headed behind by Lisandro Martinez, who positioned himself well. And Forest have a corner. And believe it or not, the first corner of the game. Opportunity to deliver. They've actually gone short. Anderson back to Hutchinson. Hutchinson, no room at the minute there, but as he finds Elliot Anderson, who will now cross. Brought down by Jesus, but hooked away by Lisandro Martinez, shall I say. Elliot Anderson again threading the ball down the right channel, but Shaw just gets there ahead of his man in Nico Williams. Yeah, there's trying those more targeting an area rather than a man at the minute, Forest, as they want it back here with Elliot Anderson. Feeds the pressure of Casemiro. Anderson wide to Gibbs White. Everybody at the back post. Gibbs White's cross didn't get past Casemiro. Anderson with it back. Nets to Dominguez. There's a lot of passing around the edge of the area. Not much in the box for Forest at the moment. Not much joy in that area. Elliot Anderson. Straight to Gibbs White, who plays it back to Dominguez. Anderson again. Try to eke out the cross, but blocked by Casemiro and behind for the corner. Man United forced into a bit of defending in the last few minutes. Remember, a point here this afternoon would secure third place for Man United. A win would be obviously much better. Elliot Anderson is over to tick this Forest corner. Everybody queuing up at the back post. Anderson's delivery headed away by Luke Shaw, who popped up there at the back post, and Bomo trying to help out. Gives away the throw, but Luke Shaw, that was a mismatch if I've ever seen one. Luke Shaw trying to mark Chris Wood, but he did well, Shaw. Got the clearance. Nico Williams to take this Forest throw. A decent response from Forest to going down early doors. They've had the right one or two bits of luck, but at the same time they've certainly posed a bit of a threat. And there's the flick on by Wood from the cross, cleared away at the back posts. Anderson. Hutchinson. We've certainly had a lot of possession the last couple of minutes, Nottingham Forest. In terms of the overall possession, it's just been evened out at 50-50. We certainly haven't played bad so far, Forest. It's just, as I said, the lack of that final third threat so far, but other than that, their build-up play's been decent. Forced Man United deep into their own half. It's a lovely switch ball. Swung back by Luca Nets, but again, red shirt's in the way. And ultimately fouled there was Casemiro, as he was trying to defend the situation, and Igor Jesus the one penalised. Yeah, the clearance from Mainu, and then Casemiro tries to jump for it, but just impeded by Igor Jesus. Question that the referee was going to give a foul for that. Referee, by the way, this afternoon is Michael Salisbury. VAR, Matt Donoghue. Oh, a little bit loose there from Senny Lamans, and they're going to get away with that, United, as Mainu was fouled by Elliot Anderson, but Man United goalkeeper, very risky play there. He just tried to play it into Kobbie Mainoo's path, but Elliot Anderson was alert and quick onto the sink. Lucky there, the United, that committed a foul, but should have spotted that, the United goalkeeper. Maguire to Lisandro Martinez. Man United try and restore a bit of control. Over all of the game, because Forest have had a better spell of it in the last few minutes, but that can quickly change. Mbeumo wide here to Ahmad, cuts it back to Casemiro. He has to retreat back to Harry Maguire. Casemiro, little back heel. They do work it out. Mainu. It's been a good passing game for both teams. That's nice from Lisandro Martinez. Finding Bruno Fernandes, who's measuring up a shot. Again, not the right sort of situation there from Bruno Fernandes. High and wide. Yeah, certainly not one of his best, that one. As I mentioned about Bruno Fernandes, he's one away from the assist record in a single season. Thierry Henry and Kevin De Bruyne both reached 20 before. Fernandes on 19 at the moment. Certainly there's no doubting his creative force. There's been no doubt about that for a long, long time for Bruno Fernandes. Being Man United's main creator. Probably one of the key reasons why they've had this major uptick in form. The latter stages of the season, just seems like he's clicked into gear in his role. Has a total of 7 assists in his last 9 Man United appearances. And he scored a couple of penalties on that run as well. Hasn't assisted in either of his last 2 games, albeit Man United's last game was a 0-0 draw, so clearly, but didn't score or assist in the Liverpool game. And actually, dating back to the 7th of January, he's only failed to have a goal involvement in just 4 of his Premier League matches. Each of the last 2, Everton at home and West Ham away. Each and every other game he's either had a goal or an assist since the 7th of January, Bruno Fernandes. Incredible record. Total of 28 goal involvements across the season, 27 of those coming in the Premier League. Elliot Anderson swung across, and a flick on at the front post from Nicolas Dominguez. Just over the top, but Forest have given some threat already this afternoon, and it's another opportunity they just don't take, but albeit they're trailing, but it's not for the want of trying to find an equaliser. Certainly from the evidence we've seen, there is threat in this Forest team to try and find a leveller. Morato. Bouncing ball for Dominguez to take control of. He slightly run into Cunha, but he's given it away to Elliot Anderson. He breaks forward and runs into trouble, but no foul, says the referee, as Anderson stays down. Fernandez got a little loose with his pass. Gibbs White now. He was sidewinded by Casemiro, but no foul. It's Harry Maguire now having a little run forward. He helps the attack. Bruno Fernandes onto Mbermo. Let it roll under him. Milinkovic in chase. Mbermo holds it up well. Dalot, blind pass across the midfield there, not finding a red shirt. Forest again able to recover, but Hutchinson's ball to Williams, just too much on it. You see this moment again, so Elliot Anderson breaks forward, but it didn't look like a foul. It looked like he kind of just slipped as he tried to turn back. He just slipped on the turf, really, more than anything. Did Casemiro make a late challenge while he was already down? The question. It's irrelevant now. Williams. Hutchinson. Couldn't get past Martinez. Martinez holding him off for now. Did well to clear his lines. Oh, and the bounce actually helps its way into Brian Mbermo. Nicely done. Cunha, though, took his time to try and play the pass, which disgruntled the crowd a little bit. First half that Man United have had more control of, but Forest have shown glimmers of threat. I don't think you can say this has been a barnstormer of a first half for United, which it looked like it could have been from the off. The way they started the half. Only the stronger of the two, but it's been much more even in the last 10-20 minutes. Casemiro on the half turn. Fernandez evades the pressure. Little 1-2 with Mainu. Shove in the back of Cunha. Deemed a fair challenge by the referee. Gibbs White, though, breaks onto a loose back pass there from Diogo Dalot, and Maguire to the rescue. Gibbs White certainly causing some threat from that left hand side. Drifting infield from those sorts of positions. Back heel here to try and find Luca Netz, but Diogo Dalot should have that one under control, and does. Mainu fending off Elliot Anderson's challenge and striding forward, finding Ahmad. Man United on the move here. Ahmad flicks it around the corner. Fernandez couldn't get it past Morato. It will be a United corner, though. And their first of the game for Man United. Well, this is where Casemiro has certainly flourished this season, from set pieces and corners. What can they do with their first of the afternoon? Swung deep to the back post. It's half cleared. Then the follow-up is blocked from Lisandro Martinez's shot. Sanderson tiptoes it out of his own box, right to the corner flag, and runs it out all on his own there. That's going to be a United throw. See this again. Deep cross, and it's punched away by Sells. I think he was with Morato. I don't actually know why they were claiming for a penalty, but nonetheless, it's checked and cleared and we play on. And United have their throw in. Strange call for a handball, if I'm honest. Brown and Burma. Ahmad flicking down the line. He's got Luca Nets in his way. Nets and Dominguez break out apart. And Gibbs White trying to carry Forest forward. Dominguez again. He felt it was brought down by Menu. The referee, after a bit of thinking, agrees. Free kick to Nottingham Forest. Man United are winless, as I said, in the last 4 Premier League games against Nottingham Forest, having won 8 in a row against them prior to this current run. Forest won this exact fixture 3-2 last season. Only once have they won consecutive away league games against United, doing so under Brian Clough in 1990 and 1992. Next, Anderson. Dominguez to Milenkovic. Now to Williams. Milenkovic does well to work out of a bit of trouble after his heavy first touch. Forest with a lot of possession, going nowhere with it at the minute. Here's Dominguez. Gives White, does well there with a half turn. Finds Hutchinson wide. Takes the Williams option on the overlap, and Williams hits it off Shaw and finds a Forest corner. This will be Forest's 3rd corner of the game. Hutchinson to deliver. Left-footed, swung deep, comfortable for the Man United goalkeeper Sene Lamans to rise highest and sort that one out comfortably. Dallo to Casemiro. Cunha back to Casemiro. Still drifting forward. Finds Fernandez, whose effort come off Milenkovic. That's gone for a corner. Yes, they take quickly. Fernandez gets it back. Couldn't find the cross into the box. Will be forced a few yards out. Still has the possession though. So he cuts it back to Dallo, who will whip it deep. And the header over the crossbar by Ahmad. Well, Forest have a good away record recently. Won 3 of the last 4 away league games, including trips to Spurs, Sunderland and at Chelsea. Their last away defeat was on the 1st of March away at Brighton. Bit of a frantic attempt of a clearance there from Luke Shaw. Sees Man United give away the throw down the right hand side. So far, Forest have had 3 shots to Man United's 9. Just the 1 shot on target, Man United's 2. So not much to test either goalkeeper. Too much to this point, but that's a lovely ball by Gibbs White, and Wood was in behind, but the heavy touch let him down and allowed Martinez to defend. Will be a corner. Yeah, nice ball. Gibbs White stays wide, waits to time the run with Chris Wood, and Wood, if he got a better first touch, he would have been in. The heavy touch allowed Lisandro Martinez to just clear it. anywhere he could, and that goes behind for the corner. As we see the height that enters the box for Forest. Williams to deliver deep to the very congested back post, and that one's headed by Morato, I think. That's going to be a goal kick. Harry Maguire is claiming that he was fouled, but they've got a goal kick, so well, to be fair, Harry Maguire then drags Morato down, but was Harry Maguire pulled in the first place? I don't even know what that was all about, but nonetheless, nothing for VAR to get involved in. Lammens got to go long here for United. Last couple of seconds before we find out how long's added on at the end of the first half. Hutchinson was closed out there well by a tight Man United midfield. Cunha works to find Luke Shaw. Cunha, no way for him to squeeze that ball through, and in the end, as he swipes for it and gives away a foul. 1 added minute then at the end of the half. Dominguez. Right wide here to Luca Nets. To Nicolas Dominguez. Goes right wide, but Dominguez gets it back. As Anderson tries the switch ball. Good first control there by Williams to really put the pressure on United, but in the end, runs right through Luke Shaw and gives away the foul. And that probably will conclude the first half. Sonny Lammens surely will just take this free kick and that will end the half. He doesn't even take the free kick. Half-time whistle goes. And our first half where Man United started pretty quickly. Luke Shaw scoring the opener inside 5 minutes, but Forest have shown a decent response since going behind and shown some threats of their own. Man United also hit the woodwork in trying to find a second. So it has certainly been a much tighter affair since the early goal. But that early crucial goal has Man United leading at the break. It's Man United 1, Forest 0 at the break. Sure, one last kick. This is going to be it. This is the moment. Vicario kicks this. And Liverpool are there. Liverpool are Premier League champions. And there it comes. Crystal Palace, for the very first time in their history, are FA Cup winners. Oh, he's found the net. Oh, what a goal. Kvaratskhelia is through, wants to add a fourth, and does so. Ahmad, oh my goodness me. That is absolutely unbelievable. Rice again. Oh! You thought he couldn't beat the first one. He's gone and bettered it. Another whip ball in. The header is in by Virgil van Dijk. Incredible.
Remember, you don't get it twice. The time of your life.
Welcome back to Premier League Live half-time at Old Trafford. It's Man United 1, Nottingham Forest 0 at the break on a day that there is massive Premier League action. 4 games at 3 o'clock and a big game at 5:30 this evening. Newcastle taking on West Ham at St James's Park as the Hammers look to escape the bottom 3. And they can do that with a win at St James's Park a little later on. Still to come though this weekend, as I said, Newcastle's against West Ham is a little later. And tomorrow we have a big game at the Emirates. Arsenal could go one step closer to a Premier League title for the first time in 22 years when they take on already relegated Burnley tomorrow at 8 o'clock. And a win for Arsenal tomorrow could mean that if City fail to beat Bournemouth on Tuesday night, then Arsenal could be crowned champions before the final game of the season. That is what's to come. And a reminder that the World Cup is on the way very, very soon. It's less than a month away, and the World Cup 2026 starts on Thursday, the 11th of June. But before all that, we get carried away with ourselves. Still a second half to come at Old Trafford, where Man United lead by a goal to nil at the break. Luke Shaw's early goal in that first half is what gives Man United that half-time advantage. But it certainly didn't look like it was going to continue that way after what was a pretty even end to the first half, where Forest did have a couple of chances of their own. We'll see how they fare in the second. Don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on push notifications if you haven't done so already. That would be greatly appreciated. Thank you very much for joining us this Sunday afternoon in what is a bumper day of Premier League action in the penultimate weekend of the season. And remember, of course, next Sunday, all 10 Premier League games kicking off at the exact same time in the final weekend of the campaign. We'll have that live for you from around 3:45 next Sunday afternoon to build up to it all and to conclude the Premier League season once again. And what is set to be a busy last 2 weeks of the campaign. Actually, 13 days. We have our last game of the 25-26 season in the Champions League final on the 30th of May. And of course, we did talk about the whole Michael Carrick situation, about him reportedly agreeing a 2-year deal with a possible 3rd year as an added option before the game, and it's been reported from yesterday. But we believe that will be addressed, as is tradition at Old Trafford. The last home game of the season, the manager addresses the 70,000 strong crowd, and Michael Carrick expected to address the crowd at the end of the game, and possibly, reportedly expected to tell them that he will be staying put. Well, as is tradition as well, they show that graphic of Man United unbeaten when leading at half-time at Old Trafford since 1984. 42 years as Mbeumo skies his shot over the crossbar. They came very close in the game with Liverpool to losing that when Liverpool went 2 up or got back to 2-2 and were pushing for a 3rd, and Man United went on to win that game. But certainly that record has been at risk, but they could survive another season. Well, they're leading at half-time at home and going unbeaten if they hang on to this 1-goal lead here this afternoon. And as I said, Forest have had a good record against United, so I wouldn't count them out just yet. You see, Forest have won just twice on the road at Old Trafford in the Premier League era. In December 2024 when they won 3-2, and back in December 1994 when they won 2-1 here in the late 90s. Stan Collymore and Stuart Pearce scored the 2 goals in that one. Eric Cantona scored the goal back for Man United. In that season, United finished 2nd and Forest finished 3rd. Igor Jesus was tackled a little late there by Lisandro Martinez. But he was fair in his challenge, said the referee, so we play on with a Man United throw-in. Milenkovic to Matt Sells. Long launch forward there by Matt Sells again. Igor Jesus tried to pick up the second ball, but again Man United work it out for a throw-in. This is a very interesting stat. Man United have only lost one of their final their last 18 seasons. That was a mess. Man United have only lost their final home game of a league season just once in the last 18 campaigns. 13 wins and 4 draws when they lost 2-0 to Cardiff back in 2018-19. It's the only time in 18 seasons where they have lost their final home game of the season. Fernandez holding off Nico Williams, but the touch did come from the Forest man, and that will be a corner. Well, only Arsenal scored more set-piece goals than United this season with 21. Arsenal with 23. Fernandez swings the corner in with the right foot. Headed away at the near post by Morato. Cunha picks it back up. He clips it round the back. Maguire takes it down, and Maguire has a swipe at goal, but that one blocked and cleared for a throw-in to United on the left. Well, he had a good effort at it there, Harry Maguire. Been an interesting season for Harry Maguire as well. It wasn't too long ago that he was being hounded out of Manchester United, but of course has agreed an extension. He's contracted until 2027. Casemiro going for the switch, taken in by Cunha. Cunha onto his right foot. I think Fernandez, who couldn't in the end return the ball, and Forrest able to clear it away. Wood trying to find Igor Jesus, forces Lisandro Martinez to put it out for the throw. Hutchinson to Elliot Anderson. It's Casemiro there trying to battle for the ball and gives away the foul on Elliot Anderson. Williams. Hutchinson. Down the line to Nico Williams, who tries to swing the cross. It's took a deflection off Luke Shaw. That's going to be a corner. Omari Hutchinson is over to take again. certainly racked up the corners so far, Forest. This is their 5th of the game, but haven't been able to threaten too much with them. They go short with this one. Nicely fended off there. Elliot Anderson swings deep, and that's a nice header by Morato. And Forest have a leveller. Well, I told you that they haven't really threatened from corners so far, Nottingham Forest. Well, they certainly shut me up. They take it short, and Elliot Anderson swings a gorgeous ball into the box. And Morato at the back post, directing it into the net to find a Nottingham Forest equaliser. Something they were pushing for a little bit in the first half, but I'm not a fan of short corners, but Elliot Anderson does really well to fend off the threat of Ahmad, and the cross is perfect. It's a beautiful cross. It dips at the right time, at the right angle, and it's set up beautifully for Morato. Not good enough defensively from Man United's point of view, really. Too easy for Morato to get free. I mean, there's about 5 or 6 red shirts around him, and he still gets the free header, but beautiful delivery by Elliot Anderson. That's what made it. And Morato, they want to head it in, although they're checking for a possible offside. I think it's Fernandez that might be playing him on. There's nothing in that. And the decision is a goal, so 1-1. Morato, that's his first goal for the club. And in game number 65 for Nottingham Forest as goal number 1. It's his first goal since he scored for Benfica back in 2023. Oh, mistake here. Mbeumo couldn't take it, but there to follow it up is Matheus Cunha. And Manchester United are back in front. There could be question marks over a possible handball in the build-up, but for the moment the goal will stand. Forest are furious. VAR will very much have a look at it. I mean, even Matheus Cunha stopped his celebration. But I think they've realised that maybe this will be ruled out. We'll see it again. When we see this again, it's a cross, and Mbeumo, I think he kind of tucked it under his arm, but I don't know if he meant it or not. It doesn't really matter, but it just kind of tucked under the arm of Mbeumo. It was a very strange moment. But the one thing is, Mbeumo didn't score, Cunha did. We know it would be automatically disallowed if Mbeumo had scored, because he was the one that handballed. But it then drops to Cunha. I mean, it is handball, but yeah, I think he knew right away that he used his arm to kind of carry the ball down and get it around the defender in a way. Accidental or not, but I think the referee is gonna go to the monitor here and have a review of this. Well, I didn't see it initially. It looked from the wide angle a bit too unclear, but as we see the replays, just catches the underside of Mbeumo's arm, and his arm is out from his body. He just kind of wedges the ball between his arm and body, and it drops in place, which allows him to turn and ultimately continue the attack and move. See it here. If the ball doesn't catch the arm, it would have, I mean, it might have found its way to Cunha, but it allows Mbeumo to control and have a shot, and then from the rebound, Cunha is able to find the net, but I think he does handle the ball. I don't think there's any question of that. And I think the referee, having a look, is about to make that decision, whether he will keep the goal or disallow it. I mean, I don't think there's a way you can allow this to stand, really. It's quite clearly a handball. Well, let's see what Michael Salisbury has to say. It's standing, it's a goal. Well, the referee has just defied normal order, really, when it comes to on-field reviews of goals. He's given it, but it looked strange to me. Forest will be furious, but this crowd won't care, and Matheus Cunha's given the goal. I didn't actually hear his reasoning, but because the crowd just took over when he said the goal will stand. But I mean, I can understand both sides in a sense of he's not the goal scorer, but at the same time, it's a handball that controls the ball down for him when it was going to basically take a deflection off him and bounce 10 yards away from him. He used his hand to control it, and then it drops for Cunha. But the Forest frustration is, if he didn't handle the ball, they could have defended that better. But again, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. And the referee called to the monitor. But, well, they can still surprise you. You think you know what's going to happen. Well, you definitely don't. And what was that, about 3 or 4 minutes of a stoppage to come to the same conclusion that we could have had in 10 seconds. But they were rigorous, and they made sure they felt they got to the right decision. But we'll wait and see what the Premier League actually have to say as to why the goal stands, what particular reason the referee saw to not see that as a handball and to disallow the goal. But fascinating. 2-1 to Man United after all that, and Matheus Cunha has found the nets for the 10th time this season in the Premier League for Man United, a 3rd time in his last 4 games, including each of his last 2 games at Old Trafford. Well, Vitor Pereira is having a little laugh and a giggle. Well, here come Forest, they're away again. A chance to try and level again, but Gibbs White has his shot smothered by Sene Lamens. Well, this game's confounded into a bit of chaos all of a sudden. As I was saying, Vitor Pereira having a little laugh with Matheus Cunha about the whole situation of the goal standing, but I don't think he would have had that same similar face if Forest weren't in a safe position in the Premier League, and still had a lot to play for in this. But at the end of the day, it's not that big a deal. At the end of the day, it's one of those ones. It is subjective, but I would just like to know what the reasoning is, rather than anything else. Beautiful from Gibbs White in that moment for Forest there. Just driving through. Certainly seen a lot of his best qualities this season. He's up for Player of the Year. And the Player of the Season in the Premier League Awards is Morgan Gibbs White. Man United with a free kick here. Fernandez to deliver, swung in. Casemiro was the closest, but it's a Forest head that it comes off, and Igor Jesus will be a United corner. couple of United players have got themselves into that player of the season conversation. Bruno Fernandes is one of them. Ball swung in, dropped, and will be a Forest free kick in there anyway. There's three Arsenal players, shall I say, in the player of the season contention. David Raya, the goalkeeper, Declan Rice and Gabriel, Erling Haaland and Antoine Semenyo are in there. Igor Thiago of Brentford and Morgan Gibbs-White also in the 8 players shortlisted for player of the season. In terms of young player, Kobbie Mainoo's made it into the young player of the season awards. Here comes Mbeumo, and he's skied that one. Well, Brian Mbeumo's had 2 or 3 chances in this game. 2 of them he skied over the crossbar, and the other he hit the post. And Bruno Fernandes, I don't know whether he played that pass, but from his smile on his face, it looked like he did. He did play that ball. Fernandes drops to his knees and can't believe that didn't find the net. Should have been 3-1. And he knows that record is hanging in the balance. If he gets one more assist, he equals a Premier League record, but all the agonising chances he's created this afternoon, and he still can't get number 20 of the season. Interestingly as well, for manager of the season, Michael Carrick's made it into that shortlist. Oh, Sales, what are you doing? And Milenkovic runs out of the play. Forest have slightly fallen apart here a little bit. A bit all over the place now, Forest. 25 minutes to go. United leading by 2-1. Want to end this game with a flourish. Luke Shaw. Kobbie Mainoo down the line. 1-2 with Cunha. That's nice from Forest down the touchline, and Harry Maguire able to stop that in its tracks. A reminder for you, a big game at 5:30 tonight. Newcastle taking on West Ham at St James's Park. West Ham, if they win this evening, will escape the bottom 3 and put Spurs into the bottom 3 ahead of their game on Tuesday at Stamford Bridge. Anything other than that would see West Ham in the bottom 3 going into the final weekend of the season. And remember, there is a situation where if West Ham lose and Spurs... West Ham... Hold on a second, as Ahmad had a chance there too. Matt Sells with the stop, but Man United pushing for a third goal. See it again here, it's Bruno Fernandes. Right through little 1-2s, and the drops for Ahmad. His shot was blocked and stopped by Matt Sells in the Forest goal, but they're certainly trying to force a third here, Man United, and Forest trying to cling on. Long deep delivery by Fernandes over the head of Martinez, picked up by Cunha. Does advance the ball into the box. Martinez runs away from the intended goal. Gives White to Hutchinson, who tried to retreat the ball to keep possession, but in the end was closed out by Lisandro Martinez. Now Fernandes. I think the last 23 minutes is going to be Bruno Fernandes trying to set up a goal. Desperate to find that 20th assist. All towards Ahmad. He had it stolen away from him, but United pressing to win it back. Forest just cannot get any sort of control on the ball at the minute there. Can't string 1 or 2 passes together at the minute, Forest. Really difficult moment in the game. Remember, they end their Premier League season next week at home to Bournemouth at the City Ground. Man United's final game of the season is a trip to Brighton at the Amex. Here is Fernandes. Opportunity, lays it off to Cunha, whose shot deflected. And more frustration from Bruno Fernandes. He probably could have had a shot himself, but I told you he wants to set up a goal, not score one. See it again. I think Fernandes, probably the better option is to try and shoot here, or maybe play it to Brian Mbeumo. He's tried that before, and it hasn't worked. He tried Cunha, and Cunha's shot deflected for the corner. I'm telling you, the last 20 minutes is all going to be about Bruno Fernandes trying to set up and find that assist. Fernandes swings the ball in, headed away by Morato. Dalot sprays it wide. Fernandes chasing, but seen out of play by Dominguez for the throw-in. Albeit the game still quite narrow in terms of the scoreline, but feels like Man United have really taken grip of it since that second goal was confirmed. And it's going to trigger a triple change from Nottingham Forest very shortly. Long launch into the box, kept alive there by Fernandes, but ends up bouncing behind for a goal kick. So confirmation of these changes then for Forest. Omari Hutchinson is going to be replaced by Dylan Bakwa. Second substitution is going to see Chris Wood replaced by Taiwo Awoniyi. And Nicolas Dominguez is also going to be replaced. And Ibrahim Sangare is coming on for him. So Sangare, Awoniyi and Bakwa all replacing Hutchinson, Wood and Dominguez. 20 minutes on the clock to remain at Old Trafford. Man United leading by 2-1. Forest leveller didn't last too long. It was headed in by Morato for his first goal at Nottingham Forest. It didn't even last 2 minutes, that equaliser, before Matheus Cunha found the back of the net. After a long VAR check, it was ultimately the on-field decision stood. So the referee went to the monitor. Shaw. Nice switch ball here, taken in by Dalot. He's got Fernandes on the break. Fernandes into Mbeumo, whose touch goes off his toe. And every time either a shot is blocked or a miscue happens, the reactions from Bruno Fernandes. I mean, you could make a whole highlights reel of Bruno Fernandes frustrated at him trying to set up another goal scoring chance and not quite falling for them at the moment. Milenkovic. Over the top, Awoniyi took control, but he did so from an offside position. Well, of course, the court of public opinion will certainly make their opinions heard on that second Man United goal, whether it should have stood or not, but certainly it was a surprise. Not that the goal stood, but it was the fact the referee went to the monitor after the goal was initially given and then stuck with the on-field decision, which is a very rare thing. It doesn't happen too often. Very rare. Cunha breaks in behind, swings a ball across, and Mbeumo heads it down. And it was cleared away from Fernandes just in the nick of time. Their push for a third goal continues, but Forest got fresh legs on the pitch, and they might want to push for another equaliser late in this one. Ibrahim Singari. Jesus out to the left to Gibbs White. Goes for the cross towards Awoniyi, but too deep and too close to Sene Lamans. Casemiro. Oh, didn't get a shout from anybody there to say there was someone behind him, and Gibbs White nips the ball away. Here's Igor Jesus running it towards the box. Gets the shot off, but blocked by Martinez, behind for the corner. Well, the last time Forest had a corner, they scored from it. Milan Bakwa over to take it. Of course, Hutchinson off the field. They've been taking the Forest corners. Everybody flooding the 6-yard box. Bakwa's delivery way at the front post, and space here for Ahmad to break away. Casemiro gets rid of the ball quickly, but couldn't find the target. Gibbs White. Through it goes. Back to Gibbs White it comes, and Martinez again defending. And I think that's been given as a goal kick. Yeah, last touch did come off Morgan Gibbs White. It's a good decision. Goal kick it is. And he's played well today, Lisandro Martinez. I think the Man United defence has been strong. A good 1v1 individual moments. Brandon Bomo's barren run without a goal. 12 games now without a Premier League goal for him. In a season where he's put 9 in the back of the net, so it's not that he has been poor all season. He had a very strong start to the campaign and hasn't been able to find the net in any of his last 12 Man United games. Can that change before the end of this game? Just as I say it, Brandon Bomo does. And I think Bruno Fernandes has got the assist. So a double celebration for that Man United third goal. Fernandes has a Premier League record, and Brian Mbeumo's barren spell without a goal comes to an end. United 3, Forest 1. And the joy on Bruno Fernandes' face, which is lit up. He can say he's alongside Kevin De Bruyne and Thierry Henry as a Premier League record holder. The joint most assists in a single season as magic number 20 ends what is a run without a goal for Brandon Bomo, and literally just as I was saying it, and it's a instinctive finish. Again, it's a good break for midfield. It's Casemiro making that drive and run forward. He lays it out to the right hand side. It's Fernandes on the right flank. It skips past Ahmad, and Brian Mbeumo with his first touch just directs it into the bottom left corner. And the relief on Bruno Fernandes' face when that one went in. He's had a few frustrated moments trying to set up Brandon Mbeumo today, but finally it comes good, and Man United make it a 2-goal lead and seemingly a win in their final home game of the season once more. Man United 3, Nottingham Forest 1. And that's Brandon Mbeumo's first goal since he scored in a 2-0 victory for United here back in February. That was on a run where he'd scored 3 and 4 at the start of Michael Carrick's tenure. That's a lovely switch ball by Fernandes. Cunha, they want more here, United. Cunha onto his right, skipping away from challenges, trying to find the net off balance, and that shot was blocked in the end. As Forest have a little bit of a chance of a breakaway here. Jesus to Gibbs White. Awoniyi lays it out to the left hand side. Lots of Man United shirts in defence. Ibrahim Singari sets it up for Elliot Anderson, who Cuts it across, and Morgan Gibbs White directs it in. 3-2. And it's very similar to Brandon Bomo's goal, where the cross came in and it was just first time instinctive by Morgan Gibbs White to direct it past a statue like Sene Lamans, who could do very little but watch it sail past him. Fabulous finish by Morgan Gibbs White. Yeah, beautiful to get his foot in that sort of direction to quite literally guide it home. A wonderful last few moments. Two very well taken goals for their respective scorers, and confirmation of Bruno Fernandes's record. Level with Kevin De Bruyne and Thierry Henry for the joint most assists in a single Premier League season. Man United are going to make a triple change. We're going to see Patrick Dorgu, Mason Mount and Joshua Zirkzee all coming on. And as Brandon Bomo returns to goal scoring, a few minutes later he will have his departure. I think Zirkzee will replace him. Matheus Cunha's going to be replaced as well. He got his goal after a bit of VAR confusion, but the goal did stand. He's going to be replaced by Mason Mount. And Casemiro's going to be coming off as well. His final game at Old Trafford wasn't a scoring end, but a positive performance in a seemingly a good game for him, and his last ever game at Old Trafford as a Man United player. And given a hero's standing ovation and applause from the home crowd. Emotional for Casemiro, who applauds the crowd, takes a bow. A special connection with this football club over the last few years, and that's going to be coming to an end at the end of the season. And the last substitution saw Patrick Dorgu come on, so a triple sub for Man United. Last 10 minutes then. We still got a game that is finally poised. Here's Igor Jesus. Forest have been a little bit renewed with that second goal. Martinez. Sene Lamans clears, but picked up by Williams. You never know. Forest could snatch a late leveller here. All over the top. Just a little bit high for the run of Gibbs White. Goes through to Sene Lamans. Well, that's the way we like it. An entertaining game. Another 5 we've seen at Old Trafford this season. Dorgu. Sandro Martinez. Oh, nice there from Mainu, and he finds Fernandes on the breakaway. He's got Ahmad to his right. He goes himself, Fernandes. Blocked by Morato. We can tell you, actually, before the subs were made, Casemiro was given a yellow card. So that's his parting gift to the home crowd. Ending with a yellow card. Almost befitting. Right, here come Forest. On the left again, it's Gibbs White. Finds Bakwa. Laid it off to Awonyi. Forest, as I said, a little renewed in energy here. Williams. Deft cross. Well blocked by Ahmad in the area Nice, Xerxes. Man United want to go again and try and snatch a fourth, but Fernandez carried very wide there by that ball from Xerxes. Does keep it in play though. Does try and find Patrick Dorger, who's in front of goal. Good save by Matt Sells. Well, say what you want about game management, but it's certainly an entertaining end to this game at Old Trafford. Very entertaining. As Forest going to make two more changes then. I'm going to see James McAtee and Jaya Cunha on to replace Igor Jesus and Luca Netz. So a double Forest substitution when they feel they can find another goal. Crunching challenges on Ahmad there from 3 or 4 players. McAtee wrestling to keep possession, did well there to get back in after he was isolated, and it's going to be a Forest throw down the left. Fernandez furious. The referee just going to have a chat with Bruno Fernandez about his little outburst there. Certainly still privy to a temper tantrum is the Portuguese. The last 5 minutes at Old Trafford. Man United 3, Nottingham Forest 2. The sun is shining, and it seems like the sun is back out over this club, seemingly in a very positive spell. And they want to end the season at home on a high with a win. It will be 13 home league wins if they were to end the season as it is. Compare that to last season where they won just 7 at home. Ball through from Fernandez to Xerxes, no way through there, and he wanted to claim the record there. Well, he's still got one game. If he doesn't do it here, he can beat the Premier League record next week at Brighton. And you wouldn't bet against him doing it. Forest through then. Elliot Anderson. Gibbs White. Back to Sangari. Gibbs White again. Who's sweet finish. Was the last goal in the game. Give Forest a chance at a late finale here. Dylan Bakwa trying the cross, blocked by Shaw. Want to hurry in taking this, Forest. Will be Bakwa, who is going to take the throw. Long one into the box, flicked away at the near post, but will drop here for Sangari. Edge of the area. Anderson through to Gibbs White. Fends off a challenge, lays it out wide to Bakwa. Swings it deep. And again, the carry on the ball finds its way to the Man United goalkeeper's hands. Well, Man United have had 23 shots in this game to Forest 9. 6 shots on target to Forest 4. Oh, a loose ball there. Opportunity for a Wonyi. Gets himself in a bit of a muddle. He does eventually get his feet correct and finds Gibbs White. Now Bakwa It's a little glimmer. Looks for the overlap. Jair with the cutback. Gibbs White with a little spin and couldn't get the shot cleanly towards goal, but Forest pushing. Anderson's long deep ball across. Williams couldn't find a Wonyi. Back to James McAtee. Forest really pushing for a late equaliser. Elliot Anderson. He was a little loose and was caught out in possession there. Fernandez rolled it through and Ahmad's away. He was in his own half, so he can't be offside. He's got Xerxes square. Xerxes just took his time in trying to chase the ball and allowed Ibrahim Sangari to get back in. Back to Fernandez. It comes, though, with a wild effort from the edge of the box. Well, it looked like Xerxes was running at 50% speed. Ahmad played the ball and he's just jogging towards the ball. He's not charging at it. Xerxes and frustration from Ahmad. That could have really put the game to bed and silenced late Forest aggression for a third goal of their own. Last minute of the 90. Bouncing ball controlled by James McAtee. Out wide to Nico Williams it goes. Lots of space in this Old Trafford pitch for Forest to spray the ball around. Jair Cunha. Bakwa. Gibbs White. Little roll back. 1-2 with Bakwa. Gibbs White given the time and space here. Lays it out to the left for Williams. Chased down by Dallow. Williams gets the cross in. A little high for a Wonyi. Not cleared away by United there, though. Anderson picks back up. Elliot Anderson rolls it through. No way for the squeeze through the lines. And 8 added minutes. We've just hit the 90. Man United on the breakaway now. Fernandez wants another assist and played a poor ball there. Bruno Fernandez, really. Ahmad was the wrong option, really. Xerxes square. He also had Dorgu arriving too. Decided to try and find it out to the right to Ahmad and overhit the ball there, Fernandez. Well, 2 high-scoring games to start the Premier League weekend and the penultimate weekend of the season. 6 goals at Villa Park, 5 goals at Old Trafford. Only 2 games down. Is there another goal to come here, though? That's a nice ball in the McAtee's path. A Wonyi on the turn. A Wonyi dragged it to the left-hand side. Yeah, McAtee does well, and a Wonyi just let the ball. The ball got too close to him, really, and he had the spin to get the shot off, as he did. Just couldn't find the accuracy on the turn. Dragged it wide of the left post, but has made it a threat, a major threat, these Forest substitutes since they come on. A reminder for you that our next game this afternoon will come at 5:30. Newcastle against West Ham, as the Hammers look to escape the relegation zone. We'll find out if they can and apply even more pressure to Spurs going to Stamford Bridge on Tuesday night. Newcastle West Ham, 5:30. Free kick to Forest here as Bakwa brought down. Still a lot of added time to go, and the referee's going to pull out a yellow card here for delaying of the restart by a United player, and that is going to be Luke Shaw, who's entered the book. Actually, he's given the yellow card possibly for the foul, I would believe, rather than the delaying the restart. Well, it's his 9th yellow card of the season for Luke Shaw. Not a stranger to the referee's book this season. Elliot Anderson. Deep ball into the box, but again, cleared away by United. Anderson gets it back again, tries to go more direct this time, but hits it straight at Patrick Dorgu. And gets beaten by Fernandez. Xerxes challenged by McAtee, who was back there. Seen out for the throw. Dorgu. Fernandez. Dorgu. Xerxes, and then Dorgu. Little combination play there from United with those three, and Dorgu was fouled. That's going to be a free kick, and it's going to be a yellow card as well to Elliot Anderson. It's his 8th yellow card of the season. Another player who's not a stranger to a booking. So Fernandez with a free kick. He's already got 1 assist in this game. Fernandez delivers. And they're cleared away by Forest, but brought back down, and Mount kicks it on the half volley, but struck it wide. Not too far away though. Fierce effort from Mason Mount. Bounces and he just connects cleanly with it, but the direction slightly off. Took nothing away from the effort. Ahmad making the run in behind. Options in the middle if he wants to find someone. Ahmad cuts it back. Couldn't find Dorgu as Nico Williams got the challenge in on the ball. Oh, lovely turn there from Dallo, sorry. Finds Dorgu. Rolls it through for Joshua Xerxes. Xerxes took his time and tried to have the shot. And when he did get it off, there wasn't much power behind it. Easy for Matt Sells to gather. Wonyi takes that one in his stride. He's got Maguire for company. Wonyi to Dylan Bakwa. Now Gibbs waits. McAtee out to the right hand side. Bakwa tries the cross, blocked by Martinez. Martinez clears for the throw in. Just 2.5 minutes as the throw in cleared away by Mainu. Dorgu gets slightly caught on the ball, and that's given away to James McAtee, who's had the space open up, but great strong challenge by Martinez, and now Man United on the breakaway. Fernandez, he's got Ahmad on the run. Bruno Fernandez trying to go himself and finds it to Dallo, hits the post. That's the second time today Man United have been denied by the woodwork. And Burmo in the first half, and now Dallo. And I think Bruno Fernandez inadvertently would have been given that assist if it had went in. Whether he meant it or not. It's really good from Dallo. A good block. Forest up the other end now. They're both trying to find a late goal. There's lots of space and quality on the pitch to try and find a late moment. As Sangari wrestles off Dorgu. A bit loose from Forest, but Gibbs White works it on to Elliot Anderson. Everybody a bit all over the place here at the moment. Last minute of the 8 added. Forest want to level it, they need to find it quickly. Time is running out. That's a poor ball by Elliot Anderson. Well cut out by Kobe Mainu. Right, Dorgu plays it through, but nowhere near Ahmad. Matt Sells comes out of his goal to hoof forward. Good header won by Maguire. A little bit loose from Mounts, but he does really well, Mason Mount, to take it down and break away for United. And now Fernandez down the right. 3 in the mix. Fernandez cuts it back. Joshua Xerxes, shot blocked. Follow up is saved by Sells. It's been so open, this game, in the last 20 minutes. Since that Brandon Burmo goal, it's been end to end, and both sides have had major chances to find another goal, and Man United certainly the best of them to try and find a fourth, and a very good save out of Matt Sells denies Joshua Zirkzee a late one. Will be a corner though, one of the last actions of the game. Bruno Fernandes, as you would expect, over to take. Fernandes, right footed, deep to the back post. Sells punches. Will stay in play, only for a moment as United clear it out for a throw-in. Is there time? No, there's not. Full-time whistle goes, and Manchester United put on a wonderful display, I have to say, in this game. A very entertaining last 20-30 minutes. Bruno Fernandes, a Premier League record holder, his 20th Premier League assist of the season, the joint most, along with Thierry Henry and Kevin De Bruyne, as the most assists in a single season. A record he'd been pushing for the last few weeks. It finally came, and that third goal went in. Casemiro bows out at Old Trafford for the final time, with his pretty decent performance and a winning end to the season at home for Man United. It all started early when Luke Shaw found the net inside 5 minutes. Forest then found a leveller in the second half when Morato nodded home for his first Forest goal. Then Cunha and the controversy around the Man United second, but it stood after question marks over handball. And then the third, when Brian Mbeumo ended his 13 games without a Premier League goal. That came to an end when he nodded home, or directed home, shall I say, for 3-1. And Bruno Fernandes getting that assist, and Forest almost kind of replicating that at the other end just a few minutes later when Morgan Gibbs-White directed in for 3-2. A high-scoring game and a high-scoring start to the weekend in the Premier League. A 4-2 result at Villa Park on Friday night, and a 3-2 game between United and Forest at Old Trafford. A really good start to the weekend. So let's hope it continues. And we have there's 4 games on the way at 3 o'clock in the Premier League. We'll have all the results to those in our late game here this evening, as Newcastle welcome West Ham. Relegation strugglers West Ham United know the situation that they've got in front of them coming into this one this evening. They know that relegation is very much on the horizon, but if they win tonight, West Ham, well, they would go out of the bottom 3 and needing Chelsea to beat Spurs to go into the final day with a chance to stay in the Premier League. Anything other than that for West Ham, I think, possibly could be relegated as soon as Tuesday night. That's to come at 5:30. Tomorrow, Arsenal take on Burnley, and Arsenal could have a defining week of their season. It very much will be. If they beat Burnley tomorrow and City lose to Bournemouth on Tuesday, then they would be the champions, Arsenal, but a lot still needs to happen for that. And a reminder for you of the World Cup, the highly anticipated new formatted World Cup in North America starts Thursday, the 11th of June. But from Old Trafford, it's a winning end to the season at home for United. It was certainly nervy at times, and Forest gave a good account of themselves. But in the end, Man United see the job through. It finished Man United 3, Forest 2. Thanks for your company. We'll see you later on.